Here at Hempfield, and I have Doug Dandridge with me. He's the principal over at LMS. So we're going to kind of tag team this session a little bit and go back and forth with Schoology. We wanted to poll the audience here just real quick. I know we did this in the first session, but how many of you are elementary parents, parents of an elementary student? Okay, lots of us. How many of you are parents of a middle school student? Couple? High school? Okay, a few more. Good. How many of you already have a parent Schoology account set up? Okay. How many of you have never heard of Schoology before? A couple of us. Okay. Good. So we're going to try to cover the gamut here tonight, and really where you want us to go. We're gonna cover some things in the first 15 minutes, and then we're going to open it up to some questions. We'll show you some different examples of Schoology, what it is, what is Schoology, what is Sapphire, that kind of thing. And then we'll open it up to questions and kind of guide from there on what all you guys want to know about Schoology tonight. Okay. So with the first item that we have here is what is Schoology? So Schoology is our online course management system. And I know some of you that were here for the first session, Mike Graham talked a little bit about Schoology and Sapphire. But if you take a look up here, you'll see some different items that Schoology will encompass for us. So teachers basically have all of their courses inside of Schoology and manage their courses that students have access to. So what does that look like? They have their different courses, whether it's reading, writing, math, etc. And then students are able to log in and navigate through those courses electronically. So they will access different things that teachers have posted. So lessons and instructional resources, a lot of that is made up of documents, maybe PDF files, Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, whatever they might have created to use with the students, as well as possibly some instructional videos or links to instructional videos that they might be using in their classroom. Some events and assignments, so you'll see that in a second, where teachers can actually use the calendaring feature to post different events. They can post homework and things like that, as well as different assignments that the students can actually work on electronically and upload to the teacher instead of actually handing it in on pencil and paper. Okay. Student engagement and sharing of content. So it's a nice and easy way for teachers to share content with the students and with the parents, as well as their colleagues. It also extends beyond the classroom. So obviously if it's online, students can access it during the day, but they also have access to it in the evening as well, or after school hours, to be able to access the different content and resources that they need to. I mentioned the last one there already. You can see there where I have students listed there too, so some of the things that they're doing with it, as well as what parents can do as well. So you'll see as we get into classes and you start to see the parent view, we're going to show you what that looks like for a couple different courses. You'll get a better understanding of what it looks like and what you're able to access in some of the different courses we have here to show you.
This point was made at the last session, but in case you were not here, I think it's also important to say that across the district we're at different points into Schoology implementation. At the elementary level, this is really only the second year that they've used Schoology. So some teachers, some of our lead teachers were building courses, and others are picking it up now and figuring out how it works and copying off of their peers and having a lot of those discussions about how to use it in the classroom. At the secondary level, they're a year ahead. So at the middle school, we've had it for 2 years now. This is the third year that we're using it. It sometimes goes in conjunction with the iPads in 7th grade. Obviously the middle school students have iPads and use it, Schoology in conjunction with the iPads. But we have our 8th grade students who don't have the iPads yet and are still using Schoology in their courses. So there are going to be slight differences, especially if you have children in multiple grade levels in the district that you will see. But we are growing into it, and the one thing that you should expect is they will be using it more and more and more as the years go on. This is really our direction as to how content will be managed in the classrooms.
Even with the high school students there as well. And our goal down the road is to start to get some commonality between courses so that as parents and students log in over the years here at Hempfield, when you enter a course, what are some of those things that you can expect to see? A course information folder for each course, what might that contain? unit folders that'll match up with the curriculum YAGs. So as you start to go in, you'll see a Unit 1 folder, Unit 2, and what the name of those different units are. And then teachers organize their stuff inside of there in different ways. But we're working on starting to get some of that consistency as we move forward with Schoology as well.
And that consistency is important. I know when we were doing some site visits last year, we were at one school in particular, and we were asking about, you know, the multiple different content management systems that they had. And they said, oh yeah, the students are no problem. They bounce from app to app to app. It's the parents who really just want one place to go for everything. So I really do appreciate the fact that the tech department's working on that consistency, because we know that the parents are an integral part of that learning. So we want to make sure that's as easy for them as it is for the students.
So the next slide here focuses on Schoology and Sapphire. And what I hear a lot is, which one do I go to find what? So this slide really focuses on the two. Schoology, as I mentioned, is our learning management system. Sapphire, you've probably known, has been around for a while. Sapphire is our student information system, okay? So I'm actually going to start with Sapphire first, because that's the one that you may be used to the most, especially those of you that have had students here throughout the years. Sapphire is really a place that you would go for courses and grades. So assignment grades, quarter grades, and final grades. That's where all of that information gets posted and will continue to get posted. That's not going to change, okay? Attendance, discipline letters, attendance letters, fees, reports, so you can see some of the different reports there. You go there to access report cards electronically in PDF format. As you get up through the high school level, it's a place where you can go to see unofficial transcripts and get a PDF file of those, and any attendance letters get generated out of there as well. So those items that you see on the right-hand side that are listed under Sapphire, that will continue and stay the same. You'll continue to access Sapphire for those things. On the other hand, Schoology, on the left-hand side here, as I mentioned, you'll be able to access any courses and groups that that you have access to. So basically, any of the courses that your students are in, if you have a Schoology account, you'll have read access to those courses and resources, and you'll see that when we log in. The other thing to mention here too is if you are a member of any of the groups, you would have access to that as well. So what types of groups am I talking about? A lot of our athletics, musical departments, activities and things like that are starting to use groups with their students. So for instance, the varsity basketball, I think, group was probably one of the first ones to get on board. And they have a basketball group set up where students and parents are able to access that Schoology group and get information on practices, pretty much you name it, from that Schoology group. So as a parent, with a parent account, you would have access to that group as well as any courses for the students. I already talked about instructional materials, documents, and videos, so assignments, homeworks, and events. There's an updates page there, so you know, as you start to think about Schoology, it kind of looks Facebook-like with all the school controls that we want. So it has an updates page there where you'll see that teachers post different updates on the main page there as well. There's an area that teachers can post a discussion question and students can have an online discussion back and forth. So you'll see some of that. It's a place where we can do tests and quizzes online. So they can actually take their tests and quizzes right inside of Schoology that the teacher has prepared for them and get some pretty instant, immediate feedback on how they did. Again, those grades that if they're graded on that project, on that test, or on that quiz, that grade still goes back into Sapphire to make up the overall quarter or final grade. Communication and classroom announcement. So as if you were here for the first session, Mike talked a little bit about this, but Schoology is a big communication area as well. And it goes from teachers posting stuff that students and parents can access, all the way down to specific questions that parents or students might have and are able to send to the teacher individually there as well. I don't know if there's anything else you want.
Yeah, the students, like our student council has a group that uses Schoology now. And they can collaborate on projects outside of the one time they meet per cycle, per 6-day cycle, to build our classroom slides on the TVs and things like that. So there's that real-time communication, conversation that's ongoing even after the school day ends. So it is a really nice tool to promote that communication outside of the classroom.
And we're going to post this presentation online as well afterwards, but if you haven't registered for a parent account, if you look up here at the very top, I have the URL that you can go to, and I'll show you the next slide here in a minute. Just shows you basically a screenshot of what you need to fill out, and that's kind of step one of registering for a parent account. And I'll talk about what happens after you submit that form on the next slide. But couple just quick Q&As here that I usually get is, does a parent have to sign up each year for an account, or does it carry over from year to year, kind of a once and done? And the answer to that question is you only have to sign up one time. Okay, so you sign up much like you did your Sapphire account. You'll sign up, and that will stay with you until your student ends their career here at Hempfield. Okay. Do parents need a different login for each account, or for each student that they have in the district? And the answer to that is no. When you actually sign up for a Sapphire account, we immediately link all of your students to that account, okay? So you really only have to sign up, put one student information in there, birth date and student ID, and then we actually, from our end, link them all together for you, okay? If parents have a Sapphire account, do they need a Schoology account? What's the difference? I kind of covered that already. Trust me, we really wish we could merge these into one so you didn't have to have two logins, but unfortunately the two pieces of software don't allow us to do that at this point in time. So if you do need a Schoology account, if you have a Sapphire account, that's great, but you would need a Schoology account as well to be able to access Schoology. The other question I get there is, can I use my same username and password that I use for Schoology, or for Sapphire, or for Schoology? And the answer there is yes. If you wanted to use the same username and password, when you set up the account, you actually get prompted as to what username and what password you want to create.
The only difference, Sapphire has a PIN at the end that you have to remember as well, so there's that third piece, but Schoology just has a username and password.
So on the right-hand side here, I just did a quick screenshot of this Hempfield account sign up. So if you haven't created an account or asked to register for an account yet, if you just go to hempfieldsd.org/Schoology account, it will take you to this screen, and you can fill out, the top part is obviously parent information because you're requesting a parent account. And then as you slide down here, you'll see we're asking for a student ID of your child and your child's birth date. If you don't know the student ID, we can certainly get that to you as well. But we also look it up and verify all this information. So what happens when you submit this form is it basically goes to our receptionist, our secretary in the tech department, and she will take a look to make sure that you should have access to who you're asking to have access to. And she will go through and approve this, and you'll actually get an email with some step-by-step instructions to finalize your account. Once you get that email, you'll notice it's only asking for a username here. Once you get that email, or an email address here, once you get that email, any username here, once you get that email, it will ask you to create a password. So it's whatever username and password you want to create for the account.
How long, I mean, I know that I submitted mine like well over a couple weeks ago, and it still hasn't, I haven't gotten anything.
Okay, great question. So the question is, how long does it take? So we had early pickup for iPads in the summer right before school started, where we had a little over 400 parents sign up for accounts. So it's a very manual process, unfortunately. So at the time, I was telling parents, as that number continued to grow, it's probably going to take us about a month. We got some additional people in to help out with that account sign up. But what I would tell you is, if it's been past 2 weeks for you, give the tech department a call. The person that answers the phone is the one that goes through and approves those accounts. She'll be able to check the system and make sure that it got submitted. and there wasn't some error that might have happened in the background that we didn't know about when you hit submit. So, great question. Any other account questions there? So this next slide here just shows you where do you go to get Schoology, and there's a couple different places to do that. So the easiest, by far the easiest way to go to the Hempfield Schoology site to be able to sign in as a parent is to go to our main homepage. So hempfieldsd.org, and we'll go there in a second and show you some of these. But once you go there in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a sapphire icon and you'll see a Schoology icon. So you can click on that and you can log in right with the web browser. Now I see a lot of people with mobile devices as well, so Schoology has its own app. So I listed both, and you can do a Google search on these as well, but I listed both URLs here to both app stores basically. So the first one is the iTunes app store where you can go and get Schoology from, as well as Google Play. Okay, so any Android device that you can download Schoology on. If you go into either one of those stores and search on Schoology, you'll find it come up, and that's the app you want to download. It's a free app download, and then you use your Hempfield credentials to be able to log in. For the website itself, that username and password that you created will get you in. For the app, it actually asks you for your location. So if you just type in the zip code here, for Landisville 17538. You can actually choose the Hempfield School District right from there, and then you use your username and password. It asks you that for the first time you log in, but after that it won't ask you for that anymore. Doug's gonna take over here the projector a little bit, and we're gonna kind of walk back and forth, but this is just a screenshot of some of the notifications and communication piece within Schoology, and he'll show you where some of these things are as he logs in. But this screen over here, basically, you'll notice, I want to point out under your account settings, and he'll show you where you can go to find this. But under your account settings, it has your email address. It also has a spot here for an alternate email. So if you wanted emails to go to two different email addresses, you could actually set it up for that just by putting your second email address in there. So maybe mom has set up this email account and you also want dad to get a copy of it. You could actually plug his email in here as well. But there's nothing wrong with having dad create their own account as well. So we have plenty of people that have both mother and father have created Schoology accounts. And then on the right-hand side, you'll notice that Schoology has a spot in here where it will actually batch all the notifications and send them to the parent at one time. And you have some different choices there to be able to alter that or change it when you want it to send the email to you. That's actually the default screen right there.
Good.
So Doug's going to log in here. We have a test parent account set up so you can get a look at what it looks like. I do want him to just hit the Hempfield SD homepage here for a second and show you that, there, perfect, he's on there already. So there's the Sapphire and Schoology login. So if you go to a web browser, you can click the Schoology piece there to log in, or the Sapphire piece, depending on which you want to go to. So he's just clicking into the Sapphire piece, or the Schoology piece, and he's already logged in. But if you click on that, it's just going to ask for the username and password that you have set up for Schoology. And once you log in, one of the things I think to mention first is up in the upper right-hand corner, where the arrow is there, if you click on that, you'll notice that there's some different spots there that you can go to. So if you go to the notifications piece, this will be that same screenshot that I just showed you, okay? So here's where you can actually go in and change some of that daily notification if you didn't want the digest sent all in one piece or an email summary sent all in one piece, etc. So you have some control over that from your parent account. the account settings piece there as well. So there's the alternate email that I talked about. And you can see some different options there, different settings that you have as a parent. Yeah, Doug, if you can click up there again, you'll notice that you have a test parent account here. That would be your account. So go ahead and click on there, Doug. So he's going to click on the test parent account, and if he clicks on the courses menu at the top, you'll notice that this parent is not a member of any courses, okay? You are actually not the student in the course, okay? You're tied to a read-only student, okay? If he clicks in groups, if you were a member of the basketball group or a music group or etc., your groups would actually show up here as a parent, and you would actually be able to access those, okay? So I don't have any of those set up in my test parent account to show you, but my point is once you click over there again and choose your students, now I have two students, I have a test student C and a test student D here hooked up to these two accounts, but as soon as he selects either one of the students here, you'll start to see that this student's courses show up here, okay? And then you can actually go in and access those different courses. Just click back over on the test student over there again. The next one.
Oh.
Next arrow.
Yep,
there.
yep.
So there you can see, my last slide talks about managing multiple students on your account. There's where you can actually toggle back and forth to see the different students that you have and what different courses they have. Okay? So if you have a question?
Would you have to get the special join codes then from the teacher in order to monitor what your son or daughter is
Great.
doing in that class? or-
Great question. So the question is, all of our Schoology accounts have something called a join code, and the join code is only used for those students that are in the course. So you wouldn't need a join code as a parent at all. As soon as you logged in with your parent account, you're actually going to see the courses that they're a part of.
Okay,
Yep.
because it's linked to your student.
Exactly. It's linked to your student. So as soon as you log in and you click whatever student up there, you're going to see what courses they're a part of. You'll be able to access those courses.
Can you communicate with that teacher through Schoology?
You can. Yep. Yep, you certainly can. And students can as well, back and forth. There's no student-to-student communication as far as I can't directly message you as a student if I'm a student, but there are student-to-teacher and parent-to-teacher communication pieces in here.
If you click on a course, what kind of information is it going to give you?
Anyone in particular?
Yeah, that one's fine. So again, we're working to standardize some things here, but as you click into this course, you're going to see a number of different things here. I don't know that we have, go ahead and click general information. I don't know if we have this one populated or not. We do with some stuff. So some contact information from the teacher, okay? Some general information about the classroom. You might start to see daily schedules here. Now this is an elementary focused one, but a little bit different on what you're going to see in here from an elementary to a middle school or high school class, but you get the idea. So there's links back to the grading and reporting guidelines. There's links to student handbooks, things like that. So another spot that you can go to start to see some of that general information for your kids' class. Homework and remembering is some of the math items that we use. So there's a PDF of that. You see that link where it says math book? So that's a link out to the math book that they're using, the electronic version to be able to access that students can log into. These items here in the middle, addition fluency, subtraction fluency, multiplication fluency, that icon there is basically an assignment. So when you see that icon, that's an assignment that the teacher has set up. I'm going to have Doug go ahead and go into one of the units here. So again, once you start to drill into units, you'll start to see some different things from teachers. I think, go back and go to Unit 2 once. I think there's maybe more in Unit 2 in this one. Yeah. So you can see teachers will organize stuff in there different ways. But you can see they have a course materials folder, some quizzes that they created. So if you click on the quizzes piece here, there's a quick quiz that they have in there for students. Go ahead and click back there again, Doug. Quizzes are grayed out for parents, so you obviously can't take the quiz, but some different links and study guide reviews. I'm not sure what's all in these folders here. So yeah, go ahead and click on that one. So if there's a PDF document or a Word document and you click on it as a parent, you can download the file and open it, or you can open it if you have Flash set up inside your browser. Or set your computer open it up inside the browser. It will actually open it right inside Schoology as well. Sometimes it's a little easier to click the download button and see the full document. But this is just a document, so some sample word problems that the teacher had to be able to work on with their students. So this is something that you could use at home to be able to work with them on. I don't see any videos in this particular course, but there's a number of different courses out there where teachers actually have step-by-step instructional videos that you would have access to as well. So if you clicked on the video, you would actually be able to play the video. I know there's, over the last couple of years, there's a lot of questions about math and how different math is compared to the way it used to be. So there's some of those videos available for students and parents as well.
2 minutes, anything you want to hit calendar?
What's that?
You got 2 minutes, you want to hit calendar
Okay.
assignments?
Sure. So we're on the parent account still. You notice that we have our test student D selected over there, and we have clicked on the calendar on the left-hand side. So as teachers start to use this more and more to put events into their calendar, whether it be just notifications of things, so you can see this science class that this student's enrolled in. You can see the homework. What's due when. You can see on the 6th and the 7th they have a science summative lab due. So they're starting to use things as events on there. Also as an assignment, you can see for the 14th I have an assignment there. So this just says homework and gives you the number. If you actually click on the assignment, as a student, I should say. As a student, if you click on the assignment, it actually gives you an upload place, so they can upload their assignment electronically here as well. Okay? So this is the calendar piece. I'm looking at one student right now. Okay? If I click up there, and go to all children, here's where it starts to combine the assignments in one calendar view for all of my kids. Okay? So you can start to hover over these different, as you saw Doug do a minute ago, you can start to hover over and see what student it's for and what the assignment might be. Okay, so from a calendar perspective, it is pretty powerful. And again, we're kind of across different levels right now. We have some teachers that are using this a lot and some not so much, but we're definitely heading in the direction that you'll see more and more use of this feature as well.
So does this mean that the phrase, "I forgot my homework," might not be valid anymore?
Yes.
I mean, this is
They still
so
try and use
awesome.
it.
Yeah, they'll still use it, but no more secrets, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's so awesome.
yeah, so you'll have access to more and more of this as we move forward. But just to piggyback on this is a nice calendar view to be able to see things. We also have some teachers that have the old assignment boards up on the board, and they have it written exactly what all they're supposed to do in different subject areas. And some of those teachers actually have a student go, before the end of the day, they have one of their students go up and they take a picture of it, and they upload it to the updates page on Schoology. So now all of a sudden, there's the assignments board that was physically in the classroom electronically now on Schoology. So there's no excuses. Just to give you a quick example of what that teacher did towards the end of the year last year, so last year was our first time with iPads. They actually had students download that picture on their iPad, electronically check off when they completed the assignment, and then the parents, they actually took their iPad and handed it to the parents, and the parents electronically signed saying, yes, I've seen this and I know they've completed these things. And the student was then required to upload that back to Schoology so the teacher could just flip through there and see who did and who didn't, and what they completed and what they didn't. So, great question. Yeah, hopefully with some of the access at their fingertips, there won't be any excuses anymore for not knowing what their homework is.
Do you plan to have all books digital with a child with an iPad? It's so frustrating. I don't have my book, and they're not all
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for that?
That's a great question as well. I think we're heading in that direction as far as pretty much everything that we've looked at over the last couple of years. We've looked to make sure that it had some electronic component to it. So a lot of the series that we've purchased over the last year, even though we got a hard copy of it, there would be an electronic form of some sort as well. So yes, and those companies have different types of setups there as far as what they provide to us. Some it's a textbook, some of it's like you saw the homework and remembering PDF there. That was an actual workbook that they provide to us. So
Is that on the teacher to put that in digital, or?
Some
not?
of
Or
the
is that-
textbooks have digital license, some of them don't. And as we go through and evaluate textbooks in our curriculum cycles, we'll evaluate that. I mean, it would be a considerable cost to replace every textbook in the district, even if that was a possibility today. And there's a lot of value for the ones that we do have. So it's going to be a blend for a while, I think. But as we move forward in that, evaluating our curriculum and as we start revising it, we'll see that more and more.
yeah, again, not something that'll happen overnight.
Right.
But,
Right.
yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying.
When they submit homework, are they uploading from Google Docs, or how do they submit homework?
All different ways. It all depends. Yeah, there's some that are done on Google Docs. There's some that's still the traditional handing in the paper. There's some that are actual assignments that they've built inside of Schoology, or a test quiz that they might have taken. So there's lots of different ways that it can be
Does
done.
Google Docs communicate with Schoology?
It
Yes.
does. Yeah.
Yes.
It does.
So
Yes.
when students sign in, they have access to all their Google Docs right inside of Schoology, and they can submit it right from there. We also have, and just to piggyback off of what Doug said, even back to the traditional pencil paper piece, there are teachers that are still doing the pencil paper piece, and instead of students actually turning in the physical paper, they will actually have them snap a picture of it and upload it to Schoology so they have an electronic copy of it.
What about Canvas? I know one of my son's teachers uses Canvas. Is that something that, is he the only one, or?
I'm not sure how much Canvas is being
Is that a
used.
high school student?
Yeah,
Okay, so Tech Ed,
yeah,
in the STEM side of things, one of their courses
yeah,
that's kind of dictated by not Hempfield,
okay.
but part of that course is created under Canvas. Canvas is another learning management system. It's one we vetted and looked at as well. That's just the learning management system that piece of Tech Ed
Yeah,
went with. It's really not. It's not purchased by Hempfield,
okay.
but it's a special course that is through Canvas.
So is that the only one, or is it that group of classes that you would be taking would be, continue to be Canvas, or will they, is it just one as teacher? Is it just as teacher, or is it?
It's a great question. I would have to look and see exactly what courses get covered in Canvas, but
Yeah, just 'cause.
there are a couple on the tech and engineering side of things that
Uses the Canvas.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that's confusing, and we've actually had conversations on, how can they build their Schoology course to include some of that Canvas stuff.
Yeah,
But Canvas has a totally separate login.
I see.
Um,
It does.
Yeah. So there won't be any other courses in Hempfield's system that deals with Canvas. It's
Okay.
just that
Just
specific
that
one.
group, okay.
Yeah. Good question.
But what an opportunity to include all these different things that we never had a chance to do before.
Yeah, you're going to start to see that you'll have more and more access to resources, and you know, we've had 10 different learning management systems over the year, and a lot of the questions we got from parents is, I don't know where to go. My student's leaving period 1 that's using a piece of Sapphire to post their stuff, to period 2 where it's Edmodo, to period 3 where it's Moodle. Where do I go? So we're down to one learning management system, which I think is good. As we continue to standardize courses, I think that'll help out as well.
Is there gonna be more standardization for teachers on what's actually an assignment, what's homework, what's an event? It's an event, homework is an event listed in there every day. They all seem to do it slightly different, and some are buried in there more than others. They don't just show up on the main page. Oh, if you look inside of that, then there's your homework. Oh, well, they all do it different. Is there,
That's part of the learning process for teachers right now, is they're learning how to use the tools as well. And you'll see little things like this Microsoft quiz says Friday, but they've listed it all week long because they want the student to study for it every night rather than just the quiz being on Friday. So all those little tricks and how do we use it are the conversations that we're having right now. I think you will find more standardization as we go forward and learn what's working and what's, you know, frustrating for the students and for the
are
parents.
there
But
designated people to help them, or that, it's you guys, I'm assuming, or?
Yes, yes, and yes. And to answer that, you know, and piggyback off of what Doug said, we are suggesting to teachers, especially at the secondary level right now, to start to put those items in as events so it shows up on the calendar and you can see everything very easily. But it just takes us a little while to get there sometimes. So, yeah, you know, you're definitely going to see more and more standardization. Those are the types of things that we're suggesting to teachers as a recommendation to use. And much like the folder structure that I mentioned, eventually that will become more commonplace.
we are out of time, in fact, overtime at this point. And I do want to get you to the next session and make sure Mike can get on here. I'm sticking around for a little while, and I think Jeremy is as well. So if anyone has individual questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.